Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2. In this episode, I'm going to show you some really simple mathematical tools that you can use in Excel if you wanted to, say, for example, add up some data that you collected, or do some multiplication or division, or even do some averaging of those numbers. So I've got an Excel sheet opened up here, and I'm just going to start off in cell B2, and I'm just going to put some numbers in here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think that's good enough. And what I want to do is I want to set this up so that Microsoft Excel will add up all of those values for me. Now, of course, I could get out my calculator and I could do that, or maybe I could do it in my head real quick, but I want to have it set in Excel so that it happens automatically. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. One way is by coming up here to this function right here called Autosum, and it'll automatically add up for me. But what I want to do is I want to show you how to actually type in the formula here, because if you type it in, then you can actually manipulate the formula a little bit. So I'm going to start off by putting an equal symbol, and then the word sum, and then an open parentheses. So that's just over the number 9 key. And I'm going to tell Excel which cells I want it to add up. I want it to add up what's inside of cell B5, and I want it to add up what's inside of cell B6. So what you see down here is a blue B5, and it colored in the box blue up here. And I've got cell C6, and it colored in the cell red up there. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to add 9 and 8 together, which of course I can do in my head, but I'm going to have Excel do that for me. I'm going to close the parentheses, which is over the 0 key, and hit enter, and there we go. 8 plus 9 is 17. But what if I wanted to add up all of these numbers together? Do I have to type in up here B2 plus B3 plus B4 plus B5? That's a lot of typing. So there's a shortcut for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the formula that's down here so that it adds up the numbers from B2 all the way to B10. So I'm going to click up here. I'm going to delete all of this stuff, and I'm going to say, Excel, add up the numbers from B2 all the way, and what I'm doing here is I'm typing in a colon. That means through. So I'm going to add up the numbers from B2 all the way to B10. And then I'm going to close the parentheses, and then watch what it does. It adds them all up to 81. Okay, so I didn't actually have to type in every single one of the cells here because I did a little shortcut there with that colon. Now, another really cool feature is, what if I didn't just want the total of all of those numbers, but I want to know what the average of all of that stuff is? It's real simple. I'm going to do another formula. I'm going to do the equals, and I'm going to start typing in the word average. And look, it brings it up down here in a menu automatically. I'm going to click average so I don't have to add in everything. I don't have to type the whole thing in. And I'm going to tell it that I want the average of B2 all the way down to B10, just like I did before. Close parentheses, hit enter, and there it is. The average of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is 9. Now here's one of the things that's really cool about these formulas. So now that I have the formula set in place here and the formula set in place here, what happens if I change one of these numbers? I'm going to change the 5 up here to a 6. 81 goes up to 82 now, and the average is now 9.1. If I change the 10 down here to, let's say, a 20, the total goes to 92, and the average changes automatically as well. Now, one little thing I want to show you before moving on is sometimes what Excel does is if I change the width of the column, you'll see that I have a whole bunch of data, a whole bunch of values after the decimal point, which is kind of silly. Up here in the number section in the menu bar, I can add more spaces if I want. Now it gets even sillier, or I can reduce the number of decimal spaces after the decimal. So 10.22, let's say. Okay? All right, next thing I want to show you is how to do some other functions, like subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Let's take the number 10 and the number 5. And what I want to do is I want to do a subtraction in this case. Just like before, I'm going to do equals sum, open parentheses, and I want to do 10 minus 5. So I'm going to do cell D2 minus cell D3 close parenthesis, and there it is. It automatically does it for me. 10 minus 5 is 5. 10 minus 4 is 6. 10 minus 3 is 7. So it's really cool that you can set up the formulas, and then once you've set them up, you don't have to change anything ever again. If your data changes, it automatically changes the numbers that show up in the calculations. Multiplying and dividing work exactly the same way. Let's do 10 and 5 again, but this time I'm going to do some multiplication. So I'm going to do equals sum. I'm going to do F2 times, and the times symbol that we're going to use is the asterisk, which is right above the number 8. I'm going to do F2 times F3, close parentheses, and there we go. 10 times 5 is 50. 10 times 6 is 60. 10 times 7 is 70. Okay? The same thing works for division. So I'm going to do 10 and 5 again. I'm going to do equals sum, and I'm going to do H2, and then the division is the slash key. It lives right with the question mark. So I'm going to do H2 divided by H3, close parenthesis, and there we go. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Right? So a really cool way that you can set up calculations and have all of those calculations carry over for you. All right, well, I hope that kind of helps you figure out how to do some really basic math using Excel. In a later episode, I'm going to show you some other ways that you can manipulate data as well, but coming up next will be some graph making. All right, until next time, thank you.